for 99% of the population, these are the dumbest exercises known to man, woman, dog, cat, any being alive on this earth. Welcome to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad with your host, Chris Finn. I'm so excited to have you here today listening, whatever time of the day it is for you, whether you're going to work, coming home from work, just bored. The fact that you have tuned in to this episode is exciting for me because this is going to be a little bit of a rant of the top 3 things that I see on social media when you go on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, you type in golf fitness, TikTok, whatever it may be, and like all the posts come up, right? Of what is golf, golf fitness exercises or whatever has been tagged as in that genre. Okay. So as you know, at P4S Golf, I am a absolute just stickler for prove to me that it works. And what drives me nuts on social is when people, and I don't know why they still put all this crap out there, that it is 100% shown not to help you. But we continue to put all this stuff out. And I think honestly, it's because a lot of it looks cool. And just because it looks cool or it looks like the golf swing does not mean it actually is going to help you in the game of golf. So let's start there with number 1. I can't stand the exercises where they got everybody, whether it's with weights or bands or TRX bands. I saw one where they had TRX bands trying to like mimic the golf swing. Like, guys, that doesn't do anything. Literally does nothing. We've tested it. When we look at what actually helps you in golf, and if you, we kind of went into a good amount of it. We talked to, when I had Bobby Pringle on here, our director of research, about the multiple different profiles that we have for golfers. There's 3 different types of profiles for golfers. Based on your profile, there's specific types of training. In 0 of those 3, if you are a ticking time bomb, a balanced golfer, or more RPMs under the hood, in either of those 3 categories of golfers, 0 of them require you to do anything that looks like the golf swing. That is useless. Okay. And when we look at training, the bottom level of if everybody thinks back to grade school and they had the nutrition food pyramid, right? The base of the pyramid for golf performance or golf fitness, whatever we want to call it, is mobility. And it's not like all this crazy mobility you see. Maybe I should have put this as number 4. All the crazy mobility that you see on Instagram, or this like where you like do a mobility drill and then you try to do a rotational move. Like, don't waste your time. Like the 4 rotary centers, the hips, the shoulders, the spine, and the neck. Those are the base of the pyramid. Once you have that base, then we need to get strong. We need to be able to be strong enough to support the club head speed that you want to produce. Okay. Now, the golf-like stuff. So throwing medicine balls, throwing bands, the TRX, or swinging. My favorite, you put the dumbbell in your hands, you swing it like a golf club. Right. Total waste of time. We've tested them. We actually looked at med ball. We did an entire study, six-week study. We had one group who did med ball training rotationally, and another group who all they did was vertical power training. So like think of jump type moves and upper body push power. So think of like a bench press would be a push power, okay, or a chest pass with a medicine ball or a basketball. If any of you play basketball, chest pass, right? So that's your push power with the upper body, and then your vertical power with your lower body. Think a squat or anything you got to push into the ground. If it's explosive, it might be a jump or a hop, something along those lines. The group who did the lower body vertical power and the upper body push power destroyed the group who did rotational stuff. Okay, so if we're trying to increase club head speed, the rotational stuff is a waste of time. It really, really is. Now, the only times where you can look at using med balls or those bands or things, or I could see an argument for it being helpful, is when we talk about ground reaction force training. We call it transfer training. So when you're trying to get somebody who has good mobility, they checked all those 4 boxes, they have good strength, and we're not seeing the speeds that we should be seeing, we're not seeing the efficiencies that we should be seeing, then transfer training or using those kind of golf specific moves or sport specific moves makes sense to train efficiency. But for 99% of the population, these are the dumbest exercises known to man, woman, dog, cat, any being alive on this earth. So that is my number one pet peeve. That those are golf exercises that are wasting your time, and I can think of nothing more disrespectful than wasting somebody's time, and they are not helping your golf game. So that's number one. Okay, so when it comes to you're going looking through social media, if you see it where they're like, "Hey, it looks like the golf swing," or you see these tools where they got a band connected to one end and they're doing these rotational moves. It's a band. It's not getting you stronger. Actually, let's go right into number two here, and that's these. There's a lot of tools out there with bands and with with bars that look like basically like there's a bar with a band connected to the end of it. There was a TRX rip trainer. You see it on other products as well. And there's all this advertising on social media that it's going to get you stronger. It's going to make you faster. Well, if you look at, let's talk about the science here, guys. Okay, because that's what I'm all about. If we talk about the science, the weight on that band, on most of those bungee cords, is not strong enough to actually increase the strength in a human being when you have two hands on it. Okay, it's like most humans are stronger than that. So it's not going to create enough of an overload where you actually are getting stronger. It's also too heavy of a stick most of the time, because we know from our other studies to do actual true speed training, the stick needs to be less, the same or less than your driver, which is 300 grams probably or less, right? Ideally about 5% less. So it's too heavy for speed. It's not strong enough or heavy enough for strength. And, if it's not heavy enough for strength, then it's definitely not going to be creating much power. So like it's a useless tool, but we sell it and it's cool and people pay lots of money for it. And so I think that's one of the tools that's my pet peeve. But there's so many of these like training aids out there, whether it's that one or there's lots of different speed stick things that you can swing out there. That for most people, most people, 99% of people listening here are ticking time bombs. So it means you're not going to pass all four of the Rotary centers. So as soon as you don't pass any of the one of those four Rotary centers, speed training is just asking to get hurt. And so, then you see all these other things. Well, this will make you stronger. No, it's really very simple, guys. You need a lacrosse ball. You need a softball. You just need some soft tissue work to get those hips and the shoulders and the spine loosened up. And then we just got to get a little bit stronger. Like we don't need anything fancy. And I get why people do this on socials, because to get the likes and the views and stuff looks really, really cool. But so that's definitely my number two, or the training devices out there that are advertised. It's false advertising. It's saying can get you stronger. Like there's no specific technical metrics. I don't know if somebody is not doing a thing and you just get them to do something. Just by doing something more than you've been doing, sure, you'll feel a little better, you'll move a little better. But when we start talking about actual measurable performance, month over month, change data, these things really are a waste of time and are not going to move the needle for you long term. And then the final thing that really kind of grinds my gears is I'm sure you guys have seen this. You got BOSU balls, you got standing on RX pads, or you're standing on like unstable surfaces and then trying to move bands or move weights, or standing on one foot and working on your balance. Look, I've worked with over 10,000 golfers at this point. I've never met a golfer who could not keep their balance unless they've had a stroke or some other medical, neurological event. Maybe they have something with their inner ear, something along those lines. But unless there's some medical reason, there have been zero golfers, guys, zero, who need to improve their quote unquote balance. The reason why you will lose your balance in your golf swing is not because you can't balance, you need to stand on one leg more. It's going to be because you don't have the inherent internal rotation into the lead leg that you're going into, and your lead hip, or you're not strong enough, right? And standing on one leg, again, isn't going to overload the tissue. And what overload means is we have to put more weight on it than what you could naturally, than you would naturally do in your day-to-day life, right? So standing on one leg, you do that every time you walk. So you need to hold a weight, like a squat or a deadlift, or, if you're, just recovering from surgery, maybe had a number of people, we start with sit to stand, right? And see if you can do a sit to stand body weight. And then maybe you go to 5 pounds and eventually you get up to 50 pounds, right? And then all of a sudden you're squatting. But these kind of, unfortunately, you see some of the top tour pros, their trainers doing this stuff where they stand on a BOSU ball and they're trying to rotate, and the transfer to actual performance, when you measure it, it looks cool and you can certainly sell it. I mean, I could sell it to you right now. So yeah, if we stand on one leg on an unstable surface, it's going to get you to have to balance. And then we're going to get you to try to rotate and disassociate your upper body from your lower body. So keep your lower body stable on that surface and try to separate your other upper body. It's going to improve your control and your ability to separate your upper from your lower. And if you can do it on one leg on an unstable surface, just imagine how easy it'll be on the ground, right? It sounds plausible. It's BS. Because when you start to go on an unstable surface, you actually recruit different muscle patterns. You are training different motor patterns and firing patterns than what you're going to use on the ground, right? That'd be like saying, hey, if you want to play basketball, go train on a boat in the ocean, and you'll be a better basketball player because you are now going to be playing on ground that isn't moving. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't transfer. So when you're training for sport, guys, train as how you're going to play. Okay. You don't stand on unstable surface. The most unstable thing you stand in is probably the sand in a sand trap. But when you stand on unstable surfaces and you add all these intricacies and complexities, like you're not helping yourself. You're just you're creating motor confusion in ways that are not transferable to the golf swing. And I have yet to see any sort of study that shows that these types of trainings actually transfer to performance. We've actually seen them actually hinder, there's been studies, and we've actually seen it in-house, where you start training solely on unstable surfaces, you actually decrease the power output you put in because you're using so much energy trying not to fall over that you're going to decrease how much force you can put into the ground. And we all know that to swing faster, you got to put more force into the ground. So you're actually training your body to put less force into the ground, which makes zero sense at all. So that's my little rant, short, quick one today. But hopefully that kind of starts you to become a little bit curious. I really hope you approach anything that you see, including, the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad and on our podcast and any of our content that we do with P4S Golf. Like, approach it with curiosity. Ask, well, how do we know that works? Why does that work? Like, don't just be sheep. Like, let's go out there and be wolves. Let's figure out exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it, and show me the science behind it. And if somebody can't show you the science behind it, and as I've said before, a case study, guys, is not science. So if they show you 10 case reports of 10 different people, that's great for those 10 people. That doesn't mean it's going to work for you. That's not science. There needs to be some sort of blinded study with control groups and truly done scientifically well. There are none of those that have shown that any of these things actually truly improve performance. Most of those case studies where you'll see those performances are just people who weren't doing anything, and they just started doing something, and something was better than nothing, so they saw some changes. So please approach everything you see on social, approach everything you see in the world with curiosity. Ask why, how do you know, show me the numbers, and you will be able to play this game for a really, really long time at a really high level, or as high a level as you want to play at. And it's going to be guaranteed because you're going based off science and data. And I can't emphasize that enough. Don't get tricked by this stuff on social that looks cool and can be sold via, like I did earlier, where I can make it sound cool and sound like it makes sense. In actuality, it doesn't. So stay strong. You guys keep, approach everything with curiosity. Hopefully we diffused a few myths for you today. And as always, our job or our goal here is to really help you avoid exploding, be the bomb squad to diffuse any bombs that you have going on. So hopefully dropped a little bit of knowledge bombs on you, a few knowledge bombs on you today, and hopefully avoid you exploding someday from doing exercises that are a waste of your time. So we'll talk to you guys, on the next episode, and thanks for tuning in. If you thought this was really interesting, please, I would really encourage you to go check out, if you haven't already, the 3 different golfer profile episode that we dive in super deep in terms of figuring out which of the 3 profiles you are and the exact type of exercises you should do, not the 3 types of exercises that we just talked about today. So thanks again. Catch you on the flip side.